students. Johnson. I'm very excited to walk you through my BRVGS senior project. So my project started at the end of junior year when I was silently freaking out to myself, wondering what the heck am I going to do for my senior project? Oh my goodness. Because they're like, do something that you're passionate about. I'm like, okay, well, I don't like technology. I don't like science. I don't like history. I don't like English. So what? Okay. So, but I knew that at some point in my, I decided that I wanted to like cooking. Cooking's fun. Everybody likes food. So I decided I wanted to do some aspect of food for my project. And luckily, I had my teacher at the time, a CD Tinder, out with actually turning food into a BRVGS senior research project. And we decided together that the best thing to do was there and go right for my internship. And she thought it would be a good idea for me to do my internship at a restaurant. And so she helped me call the restaurant and talk to the manager and set all that up. So I did my internship at Dr. Ho's Humble Pie in North Garden, Virginia. I'm sure you've heard of it. There's good food there. And my mentor was the manager there. He's all the way over there. He is so nice. Every time like we talked on the phone, he was very caring and concerned how much I was going to learn. He always talked about making sure that I was in an optimal learning environment. And he personally, when I got there, he personally taught me a restaurant, and he taught me about and making weekly food orders and things like that. And I also did various other jobs around the restaurant, like food and actually taking inventory myself. And one of my side tasks for that is I was taking inventory, and I could not find anything in there because it was so messy. So one of my side tasks was to organize the spice cabinet. So that I did. While I was there, I also got to interact with all the employees there, and Tinder here with me, Tinder's son. I wonder why I chose Dr. Ho's, right? And know all the employees there really well, and they are all really cool. I had a really fun time there, and they were all really laid back. But unfortunately, at the time, I did not have the luxury of being laid back because I still didn't have a topic my community service around. But my saving grace was Dr. Ho's had this one little attraction that they had, that they sold locally sourced food. And I remember Tim and I talking about it, about how they sold like some more locally sourced they had. So I took that and I ran with it. Oops. So after, I didn't know much about locally sourced food because my family mostly gets their groceries from Walmart. So I didn't know much about it at all. But once I started thinking about doing that for a topic, popping up in my life all the time. Like I'd hear some of my friends talking about their family farms, or we're going to the farmer's market this weekend, or my mom would say, oh, I want to start buying from the farmer's market more often because it's healthier for you. And another reason is that I was very interested in the health benefits of locally sourced food, of my to benefit the health of my family, like me and my family, because diabetes and a whole bunch of other things run in my family. And I was wondering, I just wanted to learn more about it for the benefit of my family and also for the project. All right, so my big question was, why don't more people buy locally sourced food? And I asked this kind of I don't know, it's a very out there question, like why would you want to know? But locally sourced food and like the benefits of it, it's healthier for you, it's good for the economy and things like that. And of course I researched for my paper, so I wasn't just every now and then. But for my paper, I specifically thought, like, if there's so many benefits, then what are the barriers that prevent buying locally sourced food? So part of my research is that I actually went to the farmers market and I interviewed the vendors who were there, and I asked them if they thought locally sourced food was good and why people should buy more. And I also asked them what reasons they thought of why people who don't buy, like why they don't. Said that it's because they don't know the benefits. But in in my research, I found out that there are a whole lot of reasons why some people wouldn't buy locally sourced food. Like people, like that is it's just more expensive or it's less convenient to go out and buy instead of going to Walmart. In my research, I found that the biggest reason is because of location. And this is a kind of a realization moment in my life in this project is that I found out that not everybody lives in Nelson County and can just go market on Saturday and pick up their produce for the week. And people who live in more urban areas, which I know nothing about, have to rely on convenience supermarkets for their family's food, and that's just how it is. Community service, I had this grand plan of going and teaching this class of 9 to 12-year-olds about a little bit of nutrition. I was going to talk to them about locally sourced food too, and I had Carissa Vandenhoek, the Virginia Cooperative Extension agent up in the Nelson Center. I had her helping me out because she is my 4-H. I knew her pretty well, so I was assuming that she would help me out. And she did. She was trying to get people to come to these classes, but unfortunately, there was not enough interest for them to take place. Although I did make lesson plans, set up, and it just turned out that there wasn't going to be enough people. So that was a bit of a failure on my part. But luckily, I had my research paper and all of my research to go off of to try and what I could do with my community service. So part of my research is I took a survey. I sent out, or with Miss Nightel, I sent out a survey in our school about locally sourced food, and they thought it was important and how often they buy. So here's the graph of how important that the students in our school. This is only 90 of them out of the that go here, but it's a little bit of variety. Anyway. So I can say most people think that eating locally sourced food is pretty important. Everybody thinks it's pretty important. But then when you look how often do they purchase, most of them said that they rarely purchase locally sourced food. And I was thinking, and like I said, there are so many reasons why people don't buy it. But one of the reasons I was thinking like maybe they don't know where to go or something like that. So I decided maybe I should make a directory of all the places in Central Virginia where you could go and buy locally sourced food, from farmers markets to restaurants. And this will be used as a resource for Nelson County in the Nelson Center. For future BGS students, I'm not going to tell you don't procrastinate. I'm the biggest procrastinator. This whole thing was like I was just going off the top of my head, like, okay, what are we going to do next? So is to know the worth of this experience in BGS. In that most people, when BGS is just a unique experience because everybody else who's not in it does that you're doing, and they don't really know much about it. But what they'll probably say is, "Oh, it's just a sticker on your diploma, and it's extra work." BGS gives you a whole bunch of experience, and like the hard work and stress that it puts on you is really preparing you to college or wherever it is you go, and like that stress that will be put on you later in life may not feel as bad because BGS has already exposed you to it. My future plans are I don't really know, and I have a whole bunch of could do. I have been accepted to VCU in their business area, but I could do a lot with a business degree, so that's why I'm getting it. It's versatile. I could do a whole bunch with it. And in the end, conclusion, I learned a lot about locally sourced food, and I'm glad I did. And BGS has taught me a lot about myself, and I just like to take this opportunity to thank BGS for putting all that horrible stress on me and making me cry a lot. And I'm really excited and terrified to see where the experiences I have take me in the future. The end.
How can people access Does the directory do?
A like I said, it's gonna be a resource, like a hard copy resource. So that's why I only have one. But I'll probably make more, but I'm gonna be putting them in the Nelson Center in the Virginia Cooperative Extension Office. But I think they're actually moving to the the old retirement center. I'm pretty sure she's moving there. But I'm gonna try and like digitalize it so it could be on a website. So because over there to be like, oh, where am I gonna go to get my corn this week? Yes, Miss Ormos.
So how do you think rolling your future?
Food? Okay, well, like I said, I have a lot of things that I'd like to do. And I chose food because that was the first thing I thought of, be a chef or something like that. And I decided that for a long time. And I was like, well, maybe I want to do something else, Future, I know that I'm going to keep being passionate about cooking, and I know that while I'm at VCU, I plan to go to culinary, which is like program to get your culinary degree. I'm probably going to be doing that while I'm at VCU if it doesn't conflict with my classes.
First, good job overcoming a setback in your community service. I'm sure it was frustrating to make those lesson plans and then find that attendance did not support lessons. I'm interested in the directory and in your process of creating it. So how did you decide who to include? Did you have to contact any of those people? So if you could just tell us a little bit more about the directory.
Oh, right. Okay, so about the directory, on actually just a whole bunch. There's already websites out there that say where you can buy locally sourced food, but I was trying to Central Virginia, and so I just took whatever like I thought was. I didn't really include like the wineries and vineyards that are in there because local and they do like grow their own grapes, I guess. But I really just wanted to focus on like the food aspect and like farmers and things like that. At the farmers market, I did take their business cards and I did include them up in there, and it was just it actually took a really long time to try and hunt down like where I left out a couple. Like there's no way that I put all of the goodbye locally sourced food in Central Virginia in there, but most of them, and I tried to be as thorough as possible, but it did take a really long time. Yes.
So I'd asked the question earlier, Celia. For the long term for this directory, you hand it over to someone so that they could update it. Whereas a local farm contacted them and said, "Oh, we'd like to be on this directory also. What can we do?"
Well, as Mr. Hicks just kind of suggested to me putting it online, I could probably turn that over to Carissa Vandenhoek, the extension agent, and she could probably update it, turn it over to somebody I trust because she has a lot of other things going on. But and if it just stays on hard copy, it's probably just going to sit there. If I want it to expand, which I do, digitalizing it and making it so that other people can update it, beneficial, I think. Are there any other questions?